Season 8 of Hudson and Rex has officially been confirmed, and while that should feel like exciting news, it comes with a heavy weight that no fan can ignore. Diesel, the dog who brought Rex to life for 7 unforgettable seasons, passed away during the filming of Season 7 after suffering a burst spleen. His trainer and the cast fought to keep the show moving, but behind the camera there was heartbreak that few of us could imagine. Diesel wasn't just playing Rex, he was Rex. His bond with John Reardon, his instincts during filming, the way he carried emotion in his eyes, it all went beyond acting. And now, heading into Season 8, we know things can never be the same again. For years, Hudson and Rex stood out in the crowded world of police dramas because it wasn't just about solving crimes. It was about the connection between a detective and his four-legged partner. Fans tuned in for the clever mysteries, yes, but what truly hooked us was the silent communication between Charlie and Rex. The tilt of Rex's head, the way he responded in tense situations, the quiet loyalty, those were things you couldn't script. Diesel gave that to us naturally. Now, with Diesel gone, Season 8 arrives with an invisible wound that the trailer cannot hide. We see new faces, we hear about new cases, but underneath it all, we know that the dog leading the way is no longer the same Rex we fell in love with. What makes this loss even more haunting is how it unfolded in real life. Diesel was only 8 years old, still young for a German Shepherd, when tragedy struck. He underwent surgery, he was cared for day and night, but his condition worsened until there was no other choice but to say goodbye. The cast and crew held on to this secret, finishing Season 7 while quietly preparing Diesel's nephews, Dylan and Dante, to take over the role. Fans who noticed Rex moving differently in those final episodes weren't imagining things. Something had changed. When the truth finally came out, it shattered us all. And now, as we look ahead to Season 8, the question remains, can Dylan, the new Rex, ever fill those massive paw prints? But the emotional weight doesn't end there. John Reardon, who has carried Charlie Hudson through every trial, revealed that during this same time, he was fighting his own private battle with tonsil cancer. While Rex's death tore him apart emotionally, his own health scare nearly pulled him away from the series entirely. On Christmas Eve, he shared side-by-side photos, one healthy, one during treatment, and admitted the road had been long, painful, and uncertain. To lose Diesel, his companion on and off set, while fighting for his own life only deepened the sorrow that surrounded this show. And yet, John survived. He beat cancer. He returned, ready to step back into Hudson's shoes, but this time carrying scars, both personal and professional, that no script could ever erase. This is why Hudson and Rex Season 8 isn't just another season, it's a story about resilience. It's about moving forward after unthinkable loss. The trailer teases new adventures, new dangers, and new cases, but beneath the glossy editing lies a show forever changed. Diesel's final farewell, unintentionally delivered in A Room with a Clue, now feels like the closing chapter of the series we once knew. What lies ahead is uncharted territory, where fans will have to decide if they can accept Dylan as Rex, and whether the bond that once defined this show can ever be rebuilt. And here's the suspenseful part. This isn't just a casting change. This is the soul of the show being rewritten. The dynamic between Charlie and Rex will look familiar, but it won't feel the same, because the silent bond that once came from years of working together is now gone. John himself admitted that Diesel understood him in ways words could never describe. Can that be replicated with Dylan? Or are we about to watch a version of Hudson and Rex that feels like a shadow of its former self? That's the question Season 8 forces us to ask, and it's a question that cuts deeper than any mystery this series has ever presented. When a series loses its heart, the audience feels it instantly. Diesel wasn't just an actor, he was the core of Hudson and Rex. Every time Charlie Hudson looked at Rex, what we were really witnessing was John Reardon looking into the eyes of his real-life partner and friend. That authenticity is what made the show so powerful. It was never just about the script. It was about the bond. And now, heading into Season 8, that bond has been broken. The trailer may show us action, teamwork, and loyalty, but behind every frame hangs the memory of Diesel, reminding us that the Rex we knew and loved is gone. Fans have been clinging to Diesel's legacy ever since the heartbreaking news broke. His final episode, A Room with a Clue, suddenly became more than just another case. It became a farewell. In hindsight, it feels almost prophetic. An episode centered on Rex, released just before his death was revealed, unintentionally cemented his place in television history. Watching it now, it feels less like fiction and more like a goodbye letter written in silence, a reminder of how deeply he carried the show. That's why moving forward is going to be painful, not just for the cast, but for us as fans who built our love for Hudson and Rex around Diesel's presence. But as the saying goes, the show must go on. And so, Diesel's trainer, Sherry Davis, faced an impossible task, preparing a new dog to take over the role without letting grief swallow the set whole. Instead of searching for a stranger, she turned to family. Diesel's nephews, Dylan and Dante, were trained behind the scenes to step into his role. Dylan, in particular, has now been chosen as the new primary Rex, while another German Shepherd, Dreamer, has joined the cast as a stunt double. On paper, this transition seems smooth, even logical. But emotionally, it's a minefield. Because while Dylan carries Diesel's bloodline, he doesn't carry his soul. And that's what scares fans the most. Think about it. When you've watched a dog grow on screen for years, when you've celebrated every tilt of his head, every leap into danger, every silent stare that spoke volumes, you're not just watching a character. You're watching a legacy unfold in real time. Diesel gave Rex an identity that can't simply be replaced by another German Shepherd, even if he's family. Dylan may look similar, he may perform the same tricks, but will he feel the same? Will the connection with John Reardon ring true, or will it feel like an imitation of something we've already lost? That's the uncertainty that hangs over Season 8, and it's why so many fans are both excited and heartbroken at the same time. Sherry admitted in an interview that keeping Diesel's death quiet during filming was one of the hardest decisions she ever made. She said she couldn't allow her emotions to spill out on set because dogs pick up on energy, and she feared Dylan would sense her grief and mistake it for disappointment in him. That confession alone shows the weight of responsibility hanging over everyone who worked on Hudson and Rex. They weren't just training a dog to act, they were training him to carry a torch lit by Diesel himself. And while Dylan is stepping into the spotlight now, the pressure on him is immense. Every move, every bark, every scene will be measured against Diesel's legacy. That's not fair to Dylan, but it's the reality of stepping into a role made iconic by someone else. For Jon Reirden, the adjustment is just as heavy. Imagine sharing years of your life with a co-star who never left your side, on screen and off, only to suddenly have to forge that bond all over again with someone new. Jon described his relationship with Diesel as something beyond words, built on trust, instinct, and silent understanding. Can that ever be recreated? Perhaps in time, yes, but not instantly. That means the early episodes of Season 8 may feel different, maybe even strained, as both Jon and Dylan learn how to trust each other. For fans, this could either become a moving journey of healing or a painful reminder of what we lost. And that's where the suspense of Season 8 truly lies. The mysteries and cases will always be entertaining, but the real mystery is whether Hudson and Rex can survive the loss of Diesel. Will fans embrace Dylan, or will they reject him as a pale reflection of the dog who came before? Will Jon and Dylan manage to find their own bond, or will the show stumble under the weight of its grief? These aren't just behind-the-scenes questions. They're woven into every frame of the new trailer. You can almost sense the shift, the feeling that something familiar is gone forever, replaced by a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, the show can find a way forward. But even as Dylan steps into the spotlight, one truth remains unshakable. Diesel's shadow will always be there. His legacy isn't something that can be rewritten or forgotten. Every fan who watches Season 8 will carry Diesel with them, comparing, remembering, and mourning. And that's why this season isn't just another installment. It's a test of loyalty. Are we watching for the cases, or are we watching for the bond? Because if it's the bond, then Hudson and Rex has the hardest road ahead that it's ever faced. While fans were grieving Diesel's passing, another storm was quietly raging behind the scenes, one that nearly changed the series forever. John Reardon, The face of Detective Charlie Hudson wasn't just dealing with the loss of his four-legged co-star. He was fighting for his own life. In late 2024, Jon revealed that he had been diagnosed with tonsil cancer and that the months we thought he was stepping back for rest were, in reality, filled with hospitals, treatments, and a brutal battle to survive. He kept it private at first, carrying the weight silently, but when he finally opened up, the truth hit fans like a tidal wave. On Christmas Eve, Jon shared 2 photos side by side, one of him smiling, healthy, and strong, the other during his treatment, weak, pale, and marked by the toll of cancer. The caption revealed everything, a journey of pain, fear, and resilience. He admitted that the difference between those 2 pictures wasn't just medicine, it was the love and support he received from the people around him. And while the post brought relief when he announced he was cancer-free, it also opened our eyes to how close we came to losing not just Rex but Hudson too. For a show already reeling from Diesel's death, Jon's battle could have been the final blow. Think about that for a second. The soul of the show is a partnership, Charlie and Rex. One half of that partnership passed away far too soon. The other half was fighting a disease that threatened to take him away. For a time, the future of Hudson and Rex wasn't just uncertain, it was almost impossible. How could production go forward if Jon couldn't return? How could fans watch the show, knowing that both Diesel and Jon were fighting battles that mirrored the heartbreak of real life? It's almost unbearable to imagine. Yet, Jon fought back. He endured the pain, he went through recovery, and he returned to the set with scars but also with strength. And that's where Season 8 takes on a deeper meaning. It's not just about a fictional detective and his dog solving crimes. It's about survival. It's about healing. It's about finding a way to move forward even when the odds feel insurmountable. When we see Jon step back into Hudson's shoes in Season 8, we're not just watching an actor perform. We're watching a man who nearly lost everything but refused to give up. And here's what makes this even more emotional. Jon's bond with Diesel wasn't just professional. It was personal. They spent years together, day after day, filming, rehearsing, and sharing quiet moments off camera. Jon once said in an interview that he and Diesel could read each other without words, that they developed an instinctive connection built on trust. To lose that bond while fighting cancer must have been devastating in ways words can't capture. It wasn't just a co-star Jon lost, it was his companion, his comfort, and his source of strength during the darkest time of his life. So when we talk about Season 8 being the end of an era, it's not only about Diesel, it's about the transformation of John Reardon too. He returns to the show not as the same man he was before, but as someone who has walked through fire and survived. And that changes everything. His performance, his presence, his connection with Dylan as the new Rex, all of it will carry the weight of what he's been through. Fans will see not just Detective Hudson on screen, but also John Reardon, the survivor, channeling his real-life battles into his role. That kind of raw authenticity is something no scriptwriter can ever manufacture. The trailer hints at this new energy. There's a seriousness in Jon's eyes, a weight in his performance that feels heavier than before. It's as if life itself has rewritten the character of Hudson. He's not just the calm, clever detective anymore. He's a man who knows what it's like to fight for every single day, and that intensity bleeds through every frame. Paired with Dylan, who's stepping into the impossible role of replacing Diesel, the dynamic feels like a metaphor for the show itself. 2 survivors trying to rebuild something beautiful after tragedy. And that's where the suspense truly deepens. Will audiences embrace this new Hudson and Rex? Will Jon's raw, changed presence and Dylan's attempt to honor Diesel's legacy blend into something powerful, or will it highlight the absence we all feel? The show is standing at a crossroads. One path leads to a reinvention that keeps Diesel's spirit alive while moving forward. The other leads to a painful reminder that some eras simply can't be replaced. Season 8 isn't just entertainment, it's a test of resilience for everyone involved, both on screen and off. Season 8 of Hudson and Rex is more than just a continuation. It's a rebirth, one stitched together with equal parts grief and determination. According to the official updates, filming began in May 2025 and is scheduled to wrap in July, with the new season expected to air around February 2026. On the surface, those dates might feel like routine production news. But when you look closer, you realize the weight of what the cast and crew are carrying. Every single day on set is shadowed by Diesel's absence, every moment marked by the challenge of keeping the series alive without the dog who defined it. For the production team, Season 8 isn't just about creating another series of episodes, it's about carefully walking a tightrope. On one side lies the responsibility to honor Diesel's memory and acknowledge the pain fans are feeling. On the other lies the need to move forward, to give Dylan space to step into the role without being crushed by endless comparisons. That balancing act is delicate, and you can feel it even in the early whispers about the trailer. The cases are still clever, the action is still sharp, but there's an unmistakable tone of reverence. It's as if the show itself knows it's carrying a legacy, and every decision, from storylines to casting choices, is being measured against Diesel's memory. And then there's John Reardon. His return to set after surviving cancer isn't just symbolic, it's essential. The production could have easily collapsed without him, but with Jon back, healthy and determined, there's a sense of resilience that mirrors the show's storylines. Behind the camera, he's a survivor returning to his craft. On screen, he's Charlie Hudson, a detective who has to move forward even when his partner isn't the same. That parallel isn't lost on fans. In fact, it's part of what makes Season 8 so suspenseful. We're not just watching a show, we're watching real life bleed into fiction, blurring the lines between performance and truth. The decision to keep Diesel's death private until the end of Season 7 also adds a layer of complexity. The cast and crew carried that grief silently, working through scenes while privately mourning the loss of their friend. By the time fans learned the truth, Dylan had already been trained to step into Rex's role. This secrecy wasn't meant to deceive, it was a survival tactic. Sherry Davis, Diesel's trainer, admitted she couldn't let her emotions spill on set because Dylan would pick up on them. Imagine the weight of that. Mourning Diesel in silence while preparing his replacement to carry on his role. It's heartbreaking, but it also speaks volumes about the dedication of everyone behind the series. They weren't just making a show, they were protecting a legacy. Now, as Season 8 looms closer, the pressure is shifting to the fans. Because make no mistake, this season isn't just testing the cast, it's testing us too. Are we willing to accept Dylan, or will we reject him for not being Diesel? Are we ready to let the show evolve, or will we forever cling to the version of Hudson and Rex that died with Diesel? The trailer doesn't answer those questions, it only teases them. And that's what makes it so powerful. Every clip, every shot, carries an unspoken challenge. Will you stand by this series, even when it hurts? The release window of February 2026 feels both close and far away. Close enough that excitement is building, but far enough that the suspense has time to fester. Fans are already speculating about how the first episode will handle Rex's transition, whether the show will address Diesel's passing directly or quietly carry on as if nothing happened. That decision alone could define the season. If they honor Diesel openly, it may bring closure. If they move forward without acknowledgement, it could alienate viewers who still feel raw from the loss. Either way, the production team faces a no-win scenario, because grief doesn't follow scripts and healing doesn't follow deadlines.